Welcome parents to Hamilton High School's Parent Presentation Series. We started these parent presentations about 4 years ago because we saw there was a need to provide some support services to parents in our community and within our school. These parent presentations provide a wide range of topics. We have expert speakers that talk about social media, communication, mental health issues, all the areas that teens are going through, and to educate parents on what they can do, resources they can obtain, and just support services. We also have a student educational series at the same time in the evening, so you can bring your child with you and they will go to a separate classroom and they will get education on the same topic. Most teachers give extra credit, but your child will always get 2 volunteer hours for every session they attend. And at Hamilton, we also have support groups that the social workers run. We have support groups for anxiety, depression, and self-harm. We have groups for grief, substance abuse, anger management, and we also provide one-on-one support to students, as well as meet with parents if there's issues you might be struggling with and need some professional guidance. You can come and meet with us. And so at Hamilton, we provide a great deal of services. Please contact us if you need any additional support, or we can sit down and talk about ways that we can help you and your child be successful during these high school years. Thank you so much for coming to our presentations, and these presentations, as you can see, are videotaped and will be available 2 weeks after every presentation, along with the PowerPoint and any other materials. We will have them on our website. So thank you and have a great day.
All right, yeah, awesome. Okay, so as Rajani said, I'm a mental health therapist. I've been doing this I actually did my internship right here at Hamilton. That's my tie to it. If you remember Dia Mundell before Rajani, she was my supervisor. And so I have a special spot in my heart for Hamilton to begin with. I primarily work with couples and families. I do a lot of addiction. I do a lot of trauma. You'll see, hopefully by the end of tonight, there's a correlation between a lot of those. They really aren't 3 separate pieces. I always like to start my presentations this way. What questions do you want answered tonight? You saw the topic. You saw the headline. What do we want answered? If you got to pick, what would you want?
We're going to keep the kids off the phone.
Okay, so I'm going to earn my money tonight. How keep kids off phone, okay?
How much is too much?
Okay, good question. How much is too much? Okay?
Monitor what they're doing.
How do I monitor? Next, 2 weeks from now, Katie is going to be here with your app stuff. She's going to crush that one, okay? I'll approach some of that tonight, but how to monitor. Okay. Any others?
What are the side effects? What are the effects?
Good. Side effects. These, let me just help our music director out here. There we go. Might as well use this thing for what it's for. How do we, what are the side effects of too much social media? Yeah? Okay, good. You're going to find that a lot of the stuff that we talk about tonight, you're going to generate the conversation around it, and then I'll give you what feedback I can on it, okay? Let's start with the brain. These are some nerdy brain facts that I think are a good foundation for the conversation tonight. Number 1, the average brain weighs about 3 pounds. I didn't know that. Mine, I think, honestly, when I was a kid, my hat fit my dad. Like, I had this massive cranium. I don't think it was as intelligent as anyone wanted it to be, but 3 pounds is about what the brain weighs. Brain matter is the consistency of soft butter. This is where all the sport parents go, oh, should he play football? Should we do something? Just know that's what's inside that cranium. It generates about 25 watts of power when we're awake. No, not JJ watts, but electrical watts. Football season's coming. I had to put that one up. I got excited. It contains about 100 billion neurons already present at birth. So the whole galaxy's already in there. It just hasn't been wired yet. This is going to play in. This is going to be a big part of what we talk about tonight is this developing brain. And this was the topic I was given is how does this affect the developing brain, which is going to be really key tonight. Your kids' brains are still developing. Of the oxygen consumed by the brain, about 6% is used by the white matter, which is the parts of the brain that connect. Want to guess? Oh, and the rest is gray matter. About 94% is gray matter. Now, white matter helps me communicate. It helps me multitask. It helps me stay on top of everything and swim through the chaos. Gray matter goes and gets the job done. Want to guess who has more white matter, women or men? Women, big time, a lot more, about 10 times more white matter in their brains. Guys, we're more gray matter. It's kind of like walking into a shed, right? And everything that needs to happen in a male brain is in a box. Like if you want me to talk about the trip to California, I got to go find the trip box, and there's California. And open. We're going to talk about California. Don't talk about what happened last weekend at the Johnsons. Like, I can't go, I got to go find the Johnson box and open it up. When you walk in a woman's brain, the shed, everything's on the shelves. They got this massive anterior cingulate, which helps them manage everything that's going on around them. Their brain can do multitask because of the white matter and because of the anterior cingulate. The brain generally reaches about 95% of its adult size by age 10. All right, some major differences between male and female. The female brain is fully developed at 22 years old. That's when female brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, is finished wiring. Doesn't mean you're not going to learn more. It just means we finally have roads connecting Miami to San Diego. Wait, Seattle to Miami. Well, whatever. Male brain. Sorry, guys. Now, all the women usually go, I told you, I've been saying this for years, your brain wasn't fully developed. So think about this. At 11 and 15, we've got half-developed brains. We've got a bunch of half-developed brains running around Hamilton. Now, that doesn't mean that they're stupid. That does not mean that they're unintelligent. It just means that they literally don't have the connections yet. Kind of like if I had a 9, 10-year-old kid here and I said, can you jump up and touch this? He would try, but he doesn't have the growth yet. He's just not there. Can he jump? Mm-hmm. Can he follow directions? Mm-hmm. He just can't quite do it yet. We're waiting for these neural pathways to connect, these roads to get finished. Is that making sense? Okay. Female brain, there it is, 10 times more white matter. They're better at integrating information, especially in the language arts. They use thousands of words more per day. And this is where all the men go, oh, really? Tell me something I didn't know. Male brain has 6.5 times more gray matter, processing matter. If I need a wedding planned, I'm going to probably hire a woman if I'm just looking at the brain. I'm not sexist. I'm just saying if I'm looking at the brain, I want her to think about everything at my daughter's wedding. If I need a home built, based on the data, I'm going to hire a guy, more than likely, because he'll be able to start with the foundation, and then we're going to put footers, and we're going to stem this thing. It's not going to get messy. We're going to go step by step by step. Now, those are generalizations. There's always exceptions to that rule. But this does help us kind of explain why certain genders do better in certain fields. It's not always the case. There's always an exception. And I'm not making a case for anything. Female brain has a larger hippocampus, memory storage. Guys also know this one. Yep, she remembers. Increases the learning advantage in school. Male brain has lower, these are supposed to be positives, but sorry guys, this again. Lower levels of serotonin and oxytocin, making them more impulsive and less likely to combat natural impulses. Again, not because they're weak-willed, but because this is how the brain is wired. This is how the chemicals in the brain are flooding. So teachers, keep that in mind, okay? As one kid who went to detention a lot, keep that in mind. Like, we're impulsive. Female brain is more equipped for the verbal emotive. They handle the complexities of reading and writing. Male brain does spatial and mechanical functioning better. They're better at creating pictures and charts when writing explanations. If your boys are stuck, when it comes time to write an essay, have them do a storyboard first. Have them draw it. Have them act it out. Have them do Play-Doh. Get them tactile. Get their fingers molding and drawing and shaping, okay? This is one of the major reasons boys love sports, spatial mechanical. We love objects flying through space, right? I mean, we like shapes, we like movement, we like the mechanics of the gridiron, right? Making sense? Still okay? Everything I've said, has anyone been offended yet by the research? Just a couple silent people. A couple more interesting facts. Every fetus starts with a female brain. However, at 8 weeks in gestation, males start to release huge amounts of testosterone that then marinate the brain, changing it into a male brain. By the time we're all born, we either have a male or a female brain. What this means is we all start with the right hemisphere first. What happens is the female brain develops faster, even in utero. It develops faster. That left hemisphere, so just kind of picture it like this. My right hand is more developed. The female brain, that left hemisphere develops quicker. So the corpus callosum, the bridge that sends this nerve bundle, or the nerve bundle, which is the corpus callosum, that comes across, there's something to attach to in the female brain. So females get that left hemisphere wired, and they can do both hemispheres better because of that very, very early corpus callosum nerve bundle reach and the reception of it. Male brain, same thing, left hemisphere develops, those nerve bundles go across, and the brain on the left side is not quite as developed. So it doesn't attach. We have a much smaller corpus callosum men than women, so we don't crosstalk in the brain as well as women do. It's like a path through the woods, whereas women, they've got like this 8-lane superhighway. They can go back and forth pretty quick. Okay, so about 1 out of 5 males are called what we would call bridge brains, meaning when the right hemisphere sent nerves, I just said all this, didn't I? Well, that's it right there. All females are considered bridge brains because of that typical early left hemisphere development. Now, where do we see male bridge brains? These are guys that know how to talk. They're kindergarten teachers. They're therapists. They can use a lot of words. All that means is there was early left hemisphere development. We can use the languages pretty well. By show of hands, guys, how many of you would say I'm probably one of those 1 in 5 bridge brains? Women, raise their hands for them if they won't. Yeah. Yeah? Okay. We got a bridge brain back there. Doesn't want to admit it. I'm a proud bridge brain. 1 out of 5 of us. All right, here you go. The blue on the top, that's the male brain. See the gray matter? Spot to spot to spot, north to south. Now look at the female brain on the bottom. Side to side, left hemisphere, right hemisphere. Highly concentrated just behind the prefrontal cortex. The teenage brain is capable of what you're seeing in orange there. Girls know how to crosstalk left to right. Boys, remember at 15 you've got a half-developed brain, so it's going to be slower. Stop laughing. This is science. This is important stuff.
So the left is the analytical and the right's the creative?
Yeah, especially Broca's area here is the language center. So when we think about, use your words, use your words. This doesn't work on boys. The limbic brain has a couple of key components, all right? We've got the thalamus. According to Joseph Ledoux, he calls this the cook. In other words, this is the part of the brain that takes in, it stirs in what's going on. It stirs in the sights, the sounds, whatever that's happened, the senses are taken in, and then it sends it in 2 directions. The first fast, low, dirty road stop is amygdala. The amygdala is the alarm. It's what pulls the alarm and tells us to either fight or flee or freeze. This energy puts us in motion to fight or flee or to freeze. And we'll use emotion, we'll display emotion to get that done. When your kid is saying, I don't want to go to school, school sucks, you're hearing the words, and your parent adult prefrontal cortex is going to want to go, school is important. I'm sorry, but you need to finish school. You know, I finished school, and your father, and look at, we're We have to have tools that address this part of the brain. Adult to adult, we can rationalize, we can reason, we can discern, we can talk on that big boy, big girl level. Teenagers and kids, you're not going to make a lot of sense. And again, we need tools. We need to stop using sense and reason and stuff to get our kids in the place they need to be. Donald Webb, 1949, the neurons that fire together, wire together. What does social media do to the brain? Okay, so what are some of the side effects? What are some of the things that show up? So based on this that we just did here, the developing cortex interprets and gives meaning to what the thalamus or the cook stirs in as seen or experienced on social media. How would you feed that back to me? How would you say it in your own words? How would you say it to your kids? Cortex interprets and gives meaning to what the thalamus or the cook stirs in as seen on social media. What is social media? It's forming their brains. That's it. This interpreted meaning is wired into the developing brain and becomes part of their messaging. Think about how important these are. This is why I have a job. These next few words I'm about to say. Their messaging, their beliefs, their mentality, their thought patterns, their assumptions, and their paradigms. So, in other words, what you see here becomes real here. Your adult brains can look at selfie number 13 where she looks perfect and her lips are plump, and you can go, oh, this poor girl, like she needs help. Your 15-year-old daughter goes, where's the mirror? How do I look? They make this reality. Now, somebody said it really nice. I believe it was you, Edited Life. We only put what looks what on social media? Perfect, yeah. What looks good to us, maybe what our friends would see and interpret as, you're worthy of hanging out. Is that making sense? So the content, the values, and the volume that is being injected into a young brain through social media makes a really big difference. Don't assume, once again, don't assume that they can tell the difference between this and reality. You can, they can't. When they're your age, I wonder if they'll be able to, because of the generation they're being raised in and the way their brain is being wired. What I'm trying to say is I'm going to be in business for a long time. There's a lot of job security. That's not to scare you. You're the ones that have to be responsible for your kids. You're the ones that are getting empowered. You're the ones that are going to walk out of here with tools, not just information. I don't give presentations to inform. I mean, I do that in the beginning. I give presentations because you have to walk out of here with, I know what to do. All right? Does that sound okay? Does that make sense? I'm trying not to be wordy, but I am. I'm a bridge brain, see? Look at what I do. I put words all over slides. Any other comments on this, please?
One thing I also feel that how much time we are giving to them. We always talk about they are complaining about them, but don't we think about ourselves also that are we really giving them more time? Because it has to happen both ways. Because we are doing our role modeling, and if they don't see us giving the time to them, they are also going to get dragged into all this also. So there is something on the parent side also. I feel that is contributing to this.
If I had a sticker that said Parent of the Night, you would get it right now. I'd put that ribbon right here. I love what you said. You got to lead out in this. If you're on your phone telling your kid not to be on his phone, have fun with that, right? This is going to flare up quite a bit because you're violating your own laws of freedom and expecting me to live by violated laws of freedom. No. So we have to put the phones down and pull out the board games. I don't mean to sound like we need to go back to 1983, but what I'm saying is we need to go back to 1983 and all the way to the beginning of time. We worked in fields. We worked as families. We sweated together. We pulled together. We played together. This is different. This is different. It is new. It's different. And all we're looking at right now, because we're the first generation, the first wave, All we're looking at is research. We're looking at early research and seeing what does it do. We don't even have 50-year-old subjects yet to study. Over the next 20 years, we'll learn a lot more about this, right?
I'll just share, I just feel like they don't value quality time, how you and I or everybody can like value that, and I think that's what they're missing out.
They don't value it. That's a good point. So let's say I pull out the board games and I say, come on, bud, we're going to play Chutes and Ladders. And he's going, what? No way. Why would I? We have to remember that. You remember the cross-section of all those neural pathways? We have to remember that neurons that fire together, wire together. It takes some time for this neuron connection, this neural pathway to break down and form new neural pathways. So my kid used to play on his phone a lot. I started learning about this stuff. I said, no more phone. When Michael Gurian, I tried to write some answers up here. How much is too much? Michael Gurian says before age of 14, no. Screen time. I went, oh, it's not reality. How do you do that? Well, we've been practicing. About an hour a week is what my kid gets on his phone. And I was afraid he would get scared. I was scared that he would get weird, that he would feel left out. And you know what happened? The natural instincts of that kid who's 12, they started to kick in. He started to reach out. He reads books like a maniac now. He subbed books for phone. And if you say to him, do you want to play whatever it is on the phone that they would play? Yeah, but about an hour is good. When his cousins come over, where's your phone? Where's your phone? We got to hit. And he'll go, I don't know, let's go outside. And pretty soon they're out there jumping on the tramp and they're playing. And then that part of the brain that's neuropathically wired goes, where's the phone? I got to check the phone. You can see how addicted the brain is to the dopamine it gets through social media, through games, through YouTube. We don't talk about YouTube enough. YouTube is crack cocaine for a young brain. When I say dopamine, that doesn't even start to scratch what YouTube does to that brain. It's just sniffing that line. And the interesting thing about it, I think it's the next slide. Oh, here are some tools, guys. Okay. I'm coming to that. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Before I go there, though, I need to make sure I answer some of these. You have a social media contract in your handouts tonight. You can look at it. If your kids are old enough to understand a contract and respect a contract, go ahead and use it. Go ahead and talk about, or pick the ones you like. Edit it. Format it to fit your family. Don't assume we're the professionals on your family. We're giving you info and tools. You're the one who know these kiddos. Please.
So I'm assuming you're going to get to this. But what I hear, okay, 1 hour. How do we then go home and say, okay, you got an hour? And
How do we implement this?
I think my kids are
split out.
Not have their energy put them in motion because you just took away what they perceive as real freedom and what everybody else is doing. You're a parent. It's just not an easy walk. You're never once going to hear me say, quick and easy, here's the fix. You're going to have to hold your boundaries the same way that you would protect your body from an attacker. You're going to have to, and you might have to protect yourself from your teenage attacker. Where's my phone? Ooh, yeah.
I think what she's asking is, how do you implement it? You just go home and say, that's it?
No.
Yeah, do you back off step by step?
No, I don't ever do anything with my kid. Here's the law, I'm the dad, that's that. What I try to do is I try to say, son, we've got some stuff we need to talk about. Dad's getting this research, he's getting this training on this stuff. I want you to be just as informed as me before we start talking about what's going to change. Interesting thing, Daniel Amen Clinic in California, they do these neurospect scans. Can't tell you how many times I've heard a parent say, my marijuana addicted son, he wouldn't quit smoking dope, we took him to counseling. We took him to the Amen Clinic in California. It was worth the drive and the price. He saw his own brain and what parts of his brain weren't getting blood flow, and guess what happened? Yeah, I'm good. I don't want marijuana anymore. The prefrontal cortex, which is trying to wire, looks like Swiss cheese. Go ahead and pick up the book, Unchain Your Brain. Great addiction book. It shows a lot of these different neuroimaging. Daniel Amen is the clinic. Terrible author, wonderful researcher. Put it on Audible and jog or something, just get through it. But no, don't do that. Get the pictures. Look at the pictures in this book. Good stuff. So I want my kid informed. I want him in on it. Now, what if he says, great information, Dad, I love it, but no, not going to do it. Well, at the end of the day, this is just my personal parenting style. I am the parent, and I love you too much to watch your highly addicted dopamine brain miss out on a healthy emotional state, healthy connection skills, and impaired neural pathway development. Dad, I want to drink this beer. I'm 9 now. I love you too much. I love you too much. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if we hear this enough as parents. You do have to be the parent here. You have to get informed, and you're going to have emotional reactions. You're going to have outbursts and explosions. Start with the foundation of information with them, and then help them integrate into that. This is going to be the law. You're going to go to 7th grade. That's going to be our day. Let's prep for it. You don't have to say, no screen time tonight. That's the end of it. Go ahead and say, look, by September 1st, this is what I want to work towards. Let's take some time, bud. I don't want to do that. You're going to hear this happen. That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Hold your boundaries. You're all right. Kids who throw fits are just experiencing some sense of one of those 3 off. By the way, heroin addicts do the same thing when you say you can't have heroin. Anyone else? Please.
Well, that's like you're saying, like an addiction. They're so addicted that, like my daughter, she's the same way. She's in her room, she's on her phone, she's on her computer, on YouTube, on TV. I go in and try to have a conversation, and it's like, I don't exist.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like she's saying, it's so hard because they look at you like you're an idiot. Like what do you mean? You know? And like at nighttime, how do you get them off? Like for a night? Like where is the, the brain wired at night as far as how you get to sleep?
Yeah.
Like,
Sleep is a big piece of this.
To calm down inside your brain before you can get a good night's sleep.
Right.
You don't get enough sleep.
They don't, because their brains aren't shutting off, and especially your girls. The male brain watching golf on a Saturday can almost reduce to like digestion and breathe. It can I'm not kidding. We can almost just like go down to basic function. We can sink way down to the brainstem and just kind of chill out. Women's brains don't do that. That highly connected, massive corpus callosum, anterior cingulate, white matter cortex brain, ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, it won't shut down at night. Your kids on their phones at night, I just want you to know what cough medicine they're taking before bed here. It's going to mess with their brains. I wish I could say, no, it's not that bad. The research would absolutely slap me down as a liar if I said, it really isn't affecting brains negatively. Please.
I don't know if this is for your talk or the next one. In our house anyway, we've never allowed electronics in our room, so that's not the issue. It's
Okay.
more that time that they're home alone
Yeah.
before we get home from work. Because how do you take, and maybe somebody's got a good solution, I'm sure there's an app or something. How do you monitor when you're not home? Because they need the computer for homework. They've got, my high schooler has a phone so that in case something happens at school, he can get a hold of us. You can't take it away when you're not there. So there's 3 hours that they're home alone until we get home from work. Once we're home from work, for us, it's not a problem. But it's that 3 hours.
So how do we monitor? There's 3 hours. How do we assure that they're not using it? Well, I tell you what, if it's in their pocket, your ability to monitor is going to be pretty tough. I don't know if I even like the word monitor, because what this does is it takes freedom, it takes agency away from your kids to make choices about their own brain. If you see yourself as the babysitter, you're going to have addicted kids. Empower your kids. Teach them this stuff. Go on and research it with them. Don't tell them what you heard and now we're going to implement it. You have to help them work towards some road of self-monitoring. I'm not saying that happens overnight. I do kind of have to, as a cohort, walking the trail with them, I do have to kind of implement some rules and monitor some things. But again, our focus is not he forgot about how important his phone was. Our focus is he's strong enough neuropathically to make a choice on behalf of his life and these things over here. The truth is, guys, I don't have to argue this with anyone. These phones don't make your kids happy. When they finally get off after 4.5 hours, they don't feel up and good. They're sluggish, they're sad. We've got 1 in 5 right now. That's the reported rate. 1 in 5 kids have anxiety. The rate's higher for depression right now with these millennial kids. They are not prepped for the real world. All I'm saying about social media is it's a disruptor. It's an obstacle to healthy neurological, neuropathic connection. Is that okay to say it that way? I'm not fighting social media, please.
Is there like a video we could show them and we could watch together? Because I'm not going to remember.
Google.
Taught.
Yeah, just go on Google and side effects. Ask these questions on Google. Side effects, YouTube side effects. Yeah, go to YouTube, crack cocaine. Yeah. Take them onto YouTube and then maybe send them into the Snapchat corner of their room and shut the door. No. So we're not saying, obviously I should make sure this is clear, we're not saying they can't ever look at a television or a movie screen or something like that.
Are the kids learning similar stuff? In the
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Yeah, I don't think so. This is all my stuff and I haven't shared it with them, so I don't know. I'd rather not though. I'd rather you guys talk to them. How about this? How about this presentation is yours if you want it? You take it home and you can watch it with them. I'll send it to Rajani and Rajani can, you got your emails on this, she'll punch me. All right? Okay, so any other answers here? Social media contract, reroute them to movement and reading. Well, that sounds hard. It is hard. Give their brains time to develop this. They will neuropathically wire to, I love books, I love football, I love skating, I love whatever. But it's not going to happen anytime soon, and you're going to fight their friends. You're going to fight your neighborhood. It is not going to be in your favor. Hopefully you live in one of those big Gilbert neighborhoods where kids are still out running and playing. Great, wonderful, cool. I don't live in that neighborhood. How much is too much? It depends on the age. The younger they are, the less it should be. After about 14, we can start integrating some. Remember, my kid is 12. He's not 14. I give him an hour a week. That's more than Gurion says I should be giving him. So I'm a hypocrite? I don't know. How to monitor. Katie's going to answer this in 2 weeks. And I answered a little bit on what this monitoring word really needs to be. Side effects. Chronic emotional alarm going off because of lack of connection, the lack of building those connection skills, and an impaired neuropathic development. So here are some of my favorite physical tools. If you like these, great. These are not just for adults, these are for kids. Work, play, serve. That's one of my favorites. I was at Feed My Starving Children. Have any of you guys done that yet? Oh my gosh, isn't that place awesome? Do you notice what the kids are like after Feed My Starving Children? What are they like? They're jumping, they're dancing, they were physical, they were working, they were serving. This is the kind of stuff that really helps if we can implement this, all right? Exercise frequently. Remember PE in the 1980s? Anyone go to PE? Remember push-ups in the mile and bleachers? Like, I remember feeling like I was tired. My nieces told me that they had to run the mile once a semester, and the time limit was 20 minutes. You had 20 minutes. Solid. I almost wondered if I could crawl a 20-minute mile. If I had knee pads and I scooted, I could make it. Healthy touch. This is a big one, guys. If you're afraid to get in here and hug your kiddos, you've got your own work to do. Talk to somebody. Get a book. Grab one of my cards. Come talk to me. We'll look at whatever's obstructing you from this thing of healthy touch. What is healthy touch? It's going to depend on your kids, your family, your background. It's going to depend on a lot of things. But if you aren't putting hands, good, safe, healthy hands in safe, healthy places regularly, just know this alarm, according to research, the connection alarm, it goes off. It sounds. Remember John Bowlby from the 1940s, the attachment theorist? He was studying orphanages and hospitals, and what he found was in the 1940s, post-World War II, British, hospitals and orphanages, the nurses and doctors wouldn't let the parents stay. Sick kid checked in. Parents got about an hour a day with them. The doctors and nurses wouldn't hold these kids. So there's shelter, there's food, but there's no touch. Guess what happened to the kids? Failure to thrive. They started to tank, right? They would die in these orphanages. I know it's sad, but these kids, they don't last long if they're not getting healthy touch. Touch is a language. It is a language that your kids hear from the time they are born till the time they die. Now, Bowlby really focused on kids. It wasn't until the 70s and 80s that we've got some other, Sue Johnson, Phil Shazer, Les Greenberg. They started to identify, well, if it's true for kids, is it true for adults? Are attachment needs a thing for adults? You better believe they are. Yeah, adults work, it's cradle to grave. Adults work very similar. If you don't have healthy contact, touch, communication in your life, you're probably feeling some of these alarms. This is why I do marriage and family work. 99% of what walks through my door is this, I told you earlier, because things like social media, things like work, things like affairs, things like whatever are getting in the way of these getting completed. They are the big three, they really are. I'm looking for number 4, I haven't found it yet. All right, emotional, let's do a few of these. How am I on time? Anyone have the time? 27?
7:37.
37, okay, I'm gonna have to boogie, so I gotta leave a little bit before 8. Positive messaging, this works like a garden. Plain and simple, this is a big piece. Remember the messaging, the paradigm, the interpretations that the brain makes when it's developing. This works a little bit like a garden. What you're saying about yourself, what you're saying about your life, what you're saying about your relationships, what you're saying about your job, it's growing. Whatever your messaging is, it's growing, okay? If those are negative messages, they're a little bit like weeds. They're getting watered. They're getting fertilized. Okay? You don't have to just like every once in a while. If that's kind of your paradigm that I'm fat and ugly, that weed is getting watered, whether you want it to or not. Everything grows. What matters is what's planted. Now, so when I start doing work with people, when I start working with kids, I don't say, let's not say that anymore, right? Don't call yourself fat, right? What we have to do is we have to get these people, these kids, to buy into and accept this message that we have to pull these weeds out, but then not just walk away. Because what happens if you just walk away from a plot of dirt? Weeds grow back. Weeds grow spontaneously. You don't plant them. Nobody plants weeds, yet they're everywhere, right? They grow even if they get very little water. This negative stuff, it's all around these kids, and social media is one of those elements, one of those portals for fertilizing weeds. You've all heard of cyberbullying, and you've heard of what people are saying, and there's 20% of the people on the internet are saying only negative comments. Well, remember, without that filter, without that prefrontal filter, the adult discerning filter, that 20% becomes very quickly destructive for that young brain. So as parents, we have to kind of stand in with them, not block them and make sure they don't see it. What are you feeling? What are you noticing? What are you thinking about this? Can I sit with you in it? We'll talk about some of the tools for connection here in just a sec. The growth perspective, this is a big one when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to teenagers. We're not looking for finish lines. We're not trying to finish high school, then it'll be better, or get a degree and then it'll be better, get married, then it'll be better. Life is about growth. Now you can agree with this or disagree with it. I'm just giving you research on what reduces anxiety, what is a nice substitute for what social media can plant instead. That's all I'm doing, okay? Boundaries, yours and mine. Let's talk about them for just a second. When I talk about boundaries, this is how I describe it. A healthy boundary is a little bit like a filter. What's here is mine and what's there is yours. When these gate hinges start to swing, I get in trouble. When I start taking on your stuff, your truth is now what I need to live by, this goes off because this gets violated. Okay, freedom gets violated. If I have the gate swinging this way and I have high expectations and demands and I'm the parent and this is the rule and that's that and I gave you no explanation, I gave you no space to grow into this, people are going to have emotional reactions because that freedom gets violated. Couples do this all the time, right? You've done this with your husband or wife. We're fighting back and forth, my perspective, your perspective, the truth, that's not the truth, until finally somebody does this and they put up the wall and we start to isolate. Now, isolation is the key factor when it comes to addiction. This is why I'm an addiction counselor. People who aren't connected turn to addictions to compensate. They get drugs to go over the alarm. And you can get drugs anywhere. You don't need to find like a dealer on the corner. You can get online. You're 8 seconds right now from some of the best dopamine your brain can get. All right? Healthy. Where are my boundaries? Healthy boundaries. I've got to discern. I've got to decide what's healthy for me, what's good for me. Kids need help forming these. They need help discerning with your healthy, completed prefrontal cortex what is appropriate to take in as truth and what is not. Social media has a tendency to kick these doors in, and they take everything as truth without that discerning filter. Is that okay to say it that way? Does it make sense? Okay, relationships, connection, attachment, my favorite. All right, let's talk about this for just a sec. It's a bad picture, but I don't know, I guess it makes a point. I've got 5,000 close friends. Now, social media, we should know that social media is driven by the attempt for connection. It's the connection urge trying to get fed. But it's a little bit like eating Skittles. When I eat Skittles, am I eating? Yes, I am. One after another. The rainbow, I'm tasting it, right? I'm putting one after another in. What happens after a bag of Skittles? I feel sick. Yeah, Skittles don't satisfy, neither does Snickers, by the way. They don't actually satisfy the connection alarm. Some of those tools I showed you in the physical and the emotional, that's what satisfies this alarm. That's actually, according to research, is what's shutting this off and helping teenagers thrive in a chaotic world. Sorry if you like Skittles. All right, here's a riddle for you. Let's start on the left, the physical side. There you are up on top of the cliff, and here's your buddy. That's a real physical pit. Literally, there's a hole, and he's down in there. What's the answer?
Go down there and get it.
How? If I go in there, we're both going to get stuck. This is a real hole. Okay, so a rope, or what'd you say? A lifeline. There it is. Oh, dude, you're the best. Thanks for sending down the ladder. We would rescue physically, right? If there's a real physical threat. And by the way, the guy in the pit is not experiencing any freedom. He's not experiencing any safety. Doesn't have shelter, doesn't have resources, doesn't have food. And he's all by himself. He's in real trouble. All of us would go and get him out, right? Paramedics, firemen. Anyway, get a rope. We got Timmy's in the well, right? Okay. What's the answer? Emotional.
You get down to their level?
Yeah, I love it. I have to go down there. Now, because this isn't a real physical pit, this is an emotional pit I'm representing with pit walls. When my loved ones, when my teenagers, when my people are doing this, let me give you the tools. First is boundaries. We talked about that. This is all theirs. I don't have to fix this. I don't have to fix this. I hate my English teacher. Well, let me go talk to him. Nope, 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 nope. Let them feel their emotion. Second tool is attunement. This is emotional listening. And let me tell you, good therapists, this is how they make their money. Not just tell me your story and I'll write it down. I spend all day trying to listen beneath the surface to see what's missing here. And my notes are all categorized according to what's missing here. Once you start to learn this tool, you'll never hear the same. You'll never hear people say, well, the problem is I don't have money. You'll hear, oh, money represents these two. Oh my gosh, yeah, he lost his job. Okay, I hear you. What's that like? Talk to me about it. Express this. Give this space. Go down into that emotional space with them. Now, the third tool, empathy. I've heard a lot about this one recently. Why? Because it is nails. It's solid. If you flip these, if I go empathy before attunement or boundaries, you're going to get swallowed up in this. You have to go towards people with emotion. This includes your teenagers with this boundary in place. This is theirs. They're supposed to be feeling this. There's supposed to be an opposite in all things. There's supposed to be a backside. Think about it like this. When you go in the gym, okay, you're really strong. When you go in the gym, if you put on your gym clothes and you walk in and you look around and you kind of loosen up and you find a chair in the corner and you go sit down and you start your Fitbit, and 45 minutes later you stand up and walk out. You went to the gym, right? But the problem is you didn't go beneath the weight. Okay, pain is like manure. It stinks, but everything grows because of it. Pain hurts, but don't be afraid to let your kids hurt. We are, guys, we are a little too quick to rescue emotionally. We're a little too quick to throw a ladder down in the emotional pits and take our kids to the movies or Disneyland or whatever and cheer them up. Let them hurt. Go down there with them. Don't fix it. Don't solve it. Don't make it better. Just get next to it. Mourn with those that mourn, if I can say that out loud. Go down and feel with people. Go ahead. Boundaries, attunement, and empathy will signal that brain, you're safe enough. You're good. Yeah, anybody of you have friends that do this, that when you talk to them, they just, oh man, I'm here for you. Yeah, no, I don't worry about what time it is. I've got the time for you. And you start to go, I'm really sorry. It's just that, and you go into your emotional pit and they go, yeah, gosh, dang, that is hard. That makes so much sense the way you're saying it. What happens to you? Do they give you $1,000 cash to make you feel better? They give you them. They give you time. They give you space. They give you proximity. Kids, because their brains are emotional, they eat this up. It's the very thing they're looking for on social media. It's what they're trying to do, is get some cohort, somebody who sees me, somebody to fill those attachment needs, to be seen, to be heard, to be picked, to be wanted, to be enough. Social media is not a wonderful feast for feeding those things. It's a bag of Skittles. It is food. It's not all bad. I like Skittles. They taste good. It does. It tastes good. And it's okay to have Skittles every once in a while. Just not at every meal. All right, last slide. That's me. I was about 12 in this picture. That's my friend Jared. He was my best friend at the time. In high school, he totally ditched me. He did. Like, he was coordinated and tall and had armpit hair when he was like 11, and I was about 10 years from puberty still here. So I put this picture up and I share this quick story with you, and then I'm going to close because I want you to know an equation for building a bond. I'm going to attempt this tool with you guys, okay? This kid right here pushing this broom had some really terrible stuff happen to him as a kid. Some really crappy stuff happened to him. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. Just me and the people who did the really crappy stuff, who had no business doing this to a kid, right? How did it manifest in me? I didn't sleep from the age of about 9 to about the age of 15, somewhere in there. It was almost a decade where as soon as the lights would go out and the house would get quiet, my heart would start to come out of my throat. I would lay there and go, no, 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 no. And it'd be 4:30, 5 in the morning before I finally passed out. And then 7 a.m. would roll around and we'd get up and go to school. And my 5th grade teacher called my mom in for a conference because Travis was failing. You know, she was just, I don't even know. She's like a Simpsons character. She's just like, ugh. Anyway, she wasn't cool about it at all. She didn't attune with me one bit. I didn't know what to do about it. I thought this was going to be kind of this chronic thing. It changed for me one night. Like I said, I was probably about 14 or 15, probably not too long after this. I was on the top bunk because I already tried the bottom bunk and the floor and everything else in the house, my sister's room, my parents' floor, the backyard. I tried sleeping ever, couldn't fall asleep ever. Just years of this went on. I looked out and I saw the moon. And it dawned on me, there's something bigger than me in this world. That moon. It was kind of a spiritual awakening a bit for me. I fell asleep about 5 minutes later, and I haven't had a problem sleeping ever since. I sleep really good now. I share this with you because it's a little bit vulnerable for me, honestly, to talk about this. Guys, we tend to kind of want you to see us a certain way. Remember our selfie girl? Us guys, we kind of want you to know that strength is emotionless. Not feeling emotions is kind of strong. And we kind of hold the space for people who cry, but we don't really, unless it's really big, like a funeral or if it's somebody who's really safe, like maybe my wife or something. I purposefully share some vulnerable stuff with you about some struggles that I had, because the room always does just what you guys did. Everybody kind of got silent and still, and those of you that were writing notes looked up, and you started to tune in naturally to me when I expressed what was vulnerable for me. We kind of pay that respect to each other. Now, that was not this really deep, big vulnerability, but it was vulnerable for me, and it is to kind of share this stuff. Each of you naturally, spontaneously tuned into that. I want you, when your kids are struggling, when they're talking, when they're getting pissy, when they're crying, when they're sobbing, I want you to try just what you did with me, with them. You guys were able to tune in with me easily because you know I'll go self-care. I'm a grown man who I have resources, and if I need to talk to somebody, I can do that. Your kids don't have that. So when you hear them getting vulnerable, when you hear them getting down in their emotions, when you hear them say, I'm not enough, don't correct it and say, yes, you are. Crawl down in that ditch with them and just let them know, I'm right here tuned in the same way I tuned into Travis. That kind of attention, that kind of focus. This is the equation. Vulnerability plus validation of that vulnerability by you is what equals connection. Okay? V plus V equals C. Vulnerability plus validation equals connection. You're off the hook. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to repair it. You just have to get down next to it. Practice this. Try this. See if I'm wrong. Fire me. Don't pay me the next time I come. By the way, I'm doing this for free, so I guess you... Please go give it a whirl and see what happens in your relationships with your kids as one of the substitutive tools in replacing what social media is doing on this pseudo level, this kind of false level, in the amounts that they're getting it, the volume that it's coming at them. Any questions before I stop? Okay, thank you guys. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do you have any advice? I'm sure as a therapist you see this. The one more thing, yes, you're walking out the door and it's the huge thing.
Yeah.
I see that with my child that as I'm saying good night, suddenly he wants to have the big talk.
Okay.
And do you have any suggestions about that?
Is it okay to spend 5 minutes in the ditch with him before he goes to bed, or are we like talking, if he doesn't go to bed, he won't get up in the morning?
More like to talk for an hour then.
So it's okay to say to our kids, tell you what, it's bedtime, and I'm going to give you, you've got me for 10 minutes, and we might have to hit the pause button at 10:20. But I'm going to give you everything I've got for the next 10 minutes. And then I promise you, tomorrow, let's block some time. Let's readdress this. Why, guys, is he saying it right before bed?
Stalling.
What's that?
So he's stalling.
He's being a guy, isn't he? He's being strong. He's holding it together. But he's getting eaten up on the inside. And so he's reaching out. You know what? This is really good stuff that you're his mom and that he's talking to you. That's huge, guys. If your kids say, Mom, I'm trying to do a cracking 15-year-old voice. Can we talk before you go out? Oh my gosh, take my agenda. And, yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, let me listen to you. You're not going to give me any advice. Nope, I swear I'm not. Nope. I'm just here. I really want to practice this. Don't try and trick them into the tools. Go ahead and tell them, you guys, I'm trying this new tool. I'm still growing. I'm adapting the growth perspective. I'm mom or dad. I want to practice this with you. As you share stuff, in the past I've given you advice and counsel and what happened to me in 1979 as a story of how you should do it in 2017. And I want to practice this with you. Can I try this with you? You share. And let me just see if I can stay down in the ditch with you. I've had people ask, well, how does it end? How do you know when the ditch disappears? How do you know when that emotional ditch dissipates? They'll tell you. They'll go, oh, I feel a lot better. Positive emotions are signals that we are meeting these needs. Negative emotions are alarms saying something is off here. Don't be afraid of your emotions. You need them. When my wife has something emotional, when she says, Trav, can I talk to you? I don't go, oh, yeah, sure. I hear the window of opportunity open. And you know what, guys? Because we don't do language very well, the good news is we don't need it really. We need 2 ears, only 1 mouth, right? I found that if I'll tune in and use the tools with my wife right when she feels that emotion, it's usually about 6 to 7 minutes. If I try to solve it for her, it's about 6 or 7 weeks. Just, you're not listening to me. You ever seen It's Not About the Nail? Have you guys seen that video? No? Who has not seen It's Not About the Nail? You have a homework assignment.